that again?
So about bridging the gap. So I know it's a loaded question. How can one successfully bring the two together so that they're not living this like dichotomous kind of
Oh, between
life of
left-hand
practice?
path and either people who are trying to ascend or become enlightened, or perhaps even the right-hand path, though I think that most people in the right-hand path wouldn't even call themselves that. It'd probably be the left-hand path describing them. This gap between the left-hand path and people who work with demons versus those who try to transcend the physical body. How do we bridge that gap? So really, I think that everybody's stuck in self-conception, because how many yogis or enlightened beings have used anything like the term left-hand path, or honestly, even the term evil? It's these are relative terms. People are trying to figure out where they are relative to what they believe and what they do, but in reality, they don't exist. Like, like that sage, I don't remember what her name was, in The Matrix says, how do you bend the spoon? There is no spoon. And for instance, I'll give another artistic example. So when I'm designing something in the program that is Tinkercad, it's something that I can use to basically feed the program into a 3D printer, and then it produces this thing. And then maybe I can bronze cast it and take out the wax, whatever it is, or I can just create something. Um, the only reason that there's a plane with a bunch of boxes on it, that plane is not a surface. You can do whatever you want in the space. The only reason that plane is there is so that the mind doesn't get too confused or off balance. Because honestly, the whole program is just based on what you put in that space, that white void. But they put that plane there because that's what we're used to. Because we're used to the natural center of gravity. We're used to the natural center of our cultural association, our religious association, our understanding of what is up and down.
Mm-hmm.
That's why the plane is there. That's why we think of left-hand path versus right-hand path. That's why we think of it, because without that plane, without that understanding, we wouldn't know where we are. And then
Okay.
once we figure out that duality doesn't exist, that plane actually doesn't exist, that it was never there to begin with, then we can discover ourselves in a way that we never have before. So also how to bridge the gap in a more like practical way. That's meta. How to bridge the gap in a practical way. Decide what you value, what you care about. Decide if you just care about your own interests, or it's a combination of your interests and other people's interests. And decide how you can further your interests and the people that you care about's interests. And if you only care about your own interests, then you further your own interests. And perhaps if you draw your circle wider, if you feel like what you're doing spiritually will either benefit everybody or is good for everybody in some way, then do that. That also defeats the plane, though it might sound like a spectrum for me saying it. That also defeats the plane. You have to work out from yourself, from what you're interested in, to if you're interested in other people or what you want your interest to produce in the outer world, and then perhaps humanity at large, anywhere in there. I like to think of it not as like a left versus right hand path, but like inner versus outer. If you only care about your own benefit in whatever way, shape, or form, whether it be your own personal enlightenment or you get 50 G's, you create that circle and you work within that circle. You work within that circle. If you care about yourself and your family and your friends, draw your circle. Work within that circle. And keep in mind that these circles aren't necessarily smaller or bigger. I'm just using it as another analogy. If you want to work for everybody's best interest and you think that you can actually do that and you think that you actually are working towards that and you're not lying to yourself, because most of us on the spiritual path, whatever we're on, are lying to ourselves in some way, you draw your circle much bigger. Circumference everywhere. Wait, what was it? Paramahansa Yogananda said, center everywhere, circumference nowhere. If you can be that, you're an amazing person. If you can focus on yourself and really focus on yourself and not lie to yourself, That's pretty amazing. Because a lot of people who work in magic, they really focus on getting things, and then those things are always short-sighted. Like, I don't know, like 99% of the time, anything that you want physically is short-sighted. I've experienced this multiple times with spells and magic. I'm not just talking about it because I'm more towards the right-hand path. I'm talking about it because I've experienced it. The things that I want when I actually get them, the material things or relationships, when I get them, not all relationships. I'm in pretty good relationships now, but when I get them, it's like I just wanted to want. I didn't know what I wanted. I just wanted to want. I was seeking. I was grabbing at the world, grabbing at reality, not realizing who the hell I was or what I wanted. And if you don't encounter that on your spiritual path at some point, either ego is huge or you're a very spiritual being. And the latter is more appetizing. And it's the one that usually people take. So really it's a journey of interest and what you want, and decide who you want to include in your circle and of wants, of what you want for other people. And if it's just you, and a lot of people think that when it's just you, it'll help everybody else. If that's the case, then go for it. You have to decide
Okay.
where your personal bubble is. That's it. Where's the personal bubble? That's it.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense that you say that. I guess it just the question of what are you trying to achieve? Like, what is your main like raison d'être, if I can say, like in magic? And this can change for some people. I know if I speak of myself, it's pretty much been the same the entire time. Learn more
Oh,
about
I haven't.
myself.
I'm glad I haven't been.
I
I
mean,
used to be a piece of shit.
I'm just, in order to learn about ourselves in magic, we do, we find certain types of work. We experiment with certain types of work. There are some people who, and I've done lots of it, the chaos magic approach, which is a lot, I could say like more non-linear, if you will.
Oh,
It's
I
a
still
little,
do that. Don't worry. I still do that. And I do blood
yeah.
magic.
Yeah, you do, definitely. But I just find the chaos magic approach to be quite intuitive, and if you don't like something, you can just disregard, just discard it a little bit, and just not even, just keep it moving, just keep it going. One thing that
Can
both,
I flex somebody real quick? I will say
yes,
that Andre Vitamus,
Mhm.
just type in, Andre Vitamus. He's very good at, his chaos magic book is really good. So,
it's very good. Yeah,
yeah, if anybody wants to look up chaos magic, look up Andre Vitamus, and
yeah.
you might find some good books.
Hands-on chaos. Actually, I will throw it out there. I'm pretty sure I have permission to do it. Venomous and I are working on a book together right now.
I heard.
Yeah, yeah, we're working on a book. He's gonna write it, and I'm gonna illustrate it. That's really
Oh, nice.
that's all I can
Oh,
say
you're
about that
you're
right
actually
now.
really good at illustration, by the way. Like you're a good drawer.
Oh,
Um,
thanks. Thank you.
I
Thank
can
you.
say that as an artist, you're pretty good at you're good at
Thanks.
illustration.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. But what I was gonna say though is kind of going back to the dichotomy a little bit. I kind of want to talk a little bit about that. So, on one hand, you have self-focused ritual, self-focused magic, becoming empowered, and on the other hand, you have more selfless acts, right? People that are more interested in merging with the divine or
Can I say
source.
something real quick on that?
Yes.
There's a lot of authors that I read and people I've talked to that will say, I don't know anyone that is not self-interested or interested in other than themselves or their children. A lot of people's experiences are experiencing selfish people, and that will cloud your worldview. And I've Sorceress Cagliostro. She's very powerful, but she said that as well. It's people's experiences can color their vision of reality. Not necessarily you, but I'm just saying that it can shape the direction that your ideology or understanding travels. But anyway,
Oh, no, you're good. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of highlight those two parts of the path for a moment, just like a little bit. Like, oh, so on one side, you have people that are interested in spiritual, sustaining, merging with the source or divine or whatever you want to call it. They have some kind of passion for what most of us would call very higher spiritual pursuits, right? And then the other one, some may say self-deification, which is just disclaimer, everybody. When I say self-deification, I'm not saying you're becoming a god, like a real god or anything like that. Becoming a god is really meant to be a metaphor for one that has full awareness on the choices that they make in life. A person that takes control in their life in that way. So that's really what the self-deification means as I understand it. It means that. But there's also this idea in left-hand path circles of self-empowerment. And again, as we said earlier, if you come from like a victimized background, if you've been violated or something really, really traumatic happened in your life, you're going to do whatever you can to get into that primal essence of yourself and become as powerful as you can to get over that. So with that, people will learn things like hexes and karma just goes right out the window. Open up the window, get a big bucket of karma and toss it right the fuck out of it, because that's pretty much what people do. They don't, because when it comes to like casting, they're like, what karma? What are you talking about? You're just the complete opposite on the other side of the coin, For me personally, I pay attention to karma. I pay attention to cause and effect, because it's so visible. It's something that makes a lot of sense when I look at nature, the way I observe nature and natural order. It makes sense to me personally that there's some kind of cause and effect karmic thing going on. I mean, in every little aspect, when a person is born and they're like playing Mozart at age 4 without any lessons, I mean, how the fuck is that not karma? Sorry, I'm just saying, oh, it just happens to be really good at playing Mozart at 4 years old. I don't understand where it came from. I listened to, you know what I mean?
What's really funny is that so this is actually from a video game, and I don't actually mean it like super serious, but I'll tell people that I hang out with, coincidence is a dirty word. Watch your mouth.
I like that. Coincidence is a dirty word. Watch your mouth. That's a great quote, man. I love it.
Yeah.
I might have to post that on Facebook and put your name under it as a quotier,
Please do. That'd be amazing.
Yeah. But really, so we have, anyway, I guess I'm going on a little bit, just going with the dichotomy, because I want the listeners to really think about this for a moment. If you're listening and you consider yourself a non-left-hand pather, because you don't call yourself right-hand path, you're a spiritual person that has pursuits of living a more peaceful life, less stressed life, and you want to merge with the divine in some form, or if you're a person that does a lot of dark work and you're really into invoking tons of demons, maybe you invoke all 72 of the goetic demons. I don't know. I think that anybody on the left-hand path that refers to themselves as a left-hand path and works deeply with dark energies should maybe want to examine the idea of deity or God for a moment. And I don't mean the Abrahamic version. I just mean like just clear cut across the board, unnameable source, unnameable intelligence that we all kind of can sort of tap into and recognize. And I think this is really important, because if you are working with shadow energies for self-empowerment, it's a good idea to sort of examine the self that wants to get self-empowered, I think, to go to the root of the desire of that. And if you do that, you may come across, and I'm not a guru, I'm not like any kind of spiritual advisor at all. I'm just a person who is exploring this idea with you right now. That's all I am. But if you look at if you're a person that has had a lot of power taken away from you in life, and you are looking at ways of getting it back, and you're utilizing it through ritual, I would say look deeply into the person who has the desires. Look at the one that's the victim. However way, I'm not going to say how to do it, but I'm just saying try to do it. And on the other side of the coin, if you're a person that many call right hand path, I mean, I'm guilty of using that term as well, and you are interested in Buddhahood or becoming enlightened or something like that, examine this idea, examine the idea of you as the human being here on earth right now, carrying karmas and whatever deeds you're doing, and maybe for a moment look at your shadow. And I don't mean like, I'm not saying do shadow work. I'm saying look at your shadow, look at your dark side, look and see if you have a dark side there, because I feel that too often. This is my criticism of like the kind of new age community a little bit. Like my criticism is some people can take it the dogma to the other end, just like you have people who are they take the adversarial dogma to the extreme where they didn't want anything to do with Jesus or the church, and like you were saying before, that they're still using Abrahamic terms to refer to what they're working with.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of new agers, I'm saying new agers because people you see in metaphysical bookstores and whatnot. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. Now, plenty of friends that are into that stuff as well. I've dipped into it a lot, off and on over the years if I see a really good book or something. But anyway, I think that what I'm trying to say, my long ramble here, is that if a person that identifies with being holistically spiritual, yoga, veganism, whatever, I think it's a good idea for them to notice their shadow self, meaning like the sides of themselves that they don't like as much. An example is like I can give for myself. I love heavy metal music. I'm a diehard metal. I fucking love metal. I listen to metal all the time. I really do. Haven't listened to it that much lately, but I like it. And some of my new ager friends just don't get it. They don't get why I like stuff like that. They have no idea. Why do you like music like that? I can't understand the words. It's loud. It's very abrasive sounding. It's angry. Like, do you like being angry? I'm like, I like this. But I think that they should look at something like that because a lot of them have those kinds of backgrounds themselves where they did a lot of drugs in their youth and they would go to parties and they would listen to Metallica or something or whatever, now, and then they just kind of, they grow into this, what they call spiritual maturity. And then they disregard things like that, or sorry, they discard things like that. And then they no longer want to look back on those times. But I'm saying maybe they should listen to Metallica like they used to for a little bit. Like, what's wrong with that? Maybe they should eat a burrito that has some fat in it or something, like what's wrong with that? I'm just saying, like, get to know that imperfect part of themselves,
I think it's important for everybody to like check their privilege and how far they've come and understand that how far other people have to come, and think that just because you've come that far or that you think you've come this far doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't have to go through it in another way. Because if
Mm-hmm.
somebody else has to go through it another way, that's completely fine, and we don't have to view ourselves as being better than them. Perhaps maybe they're doing their own journey, and we don't have to judge their journey and judge what they work with or what they're trying to manifest, and just leave them alone and just be ourselves. And if we feel like we're on a better path, just be there for that person rather than forcing ourselves onto others.
It's pretty wise. It's actually pretty benevolent as well, it's like live and let live. You're starting to sound more like a Taoist the more I talk to you tonight. We're talking about
I
the
practice the
yeah.
drunken monkey style of martial arts.
Hunter and I were discussing Chinese religion earlier before we recorded. We were talking about Taoism and Buddhism, and I was telling him like how difficult it is to find really authentic religious Taoism, and I'm sitting here going, he sounds like a Taoist right now, saying like that, live and let live, let nature take its course. It's a beautiful thing.
Everybody is traveling their own path, and I think it's very important. Like for me, I'm very so like I call myself gray, but to be honest, I'm very much on the side of the light in fairness, and but there's a difference between being light that is forced upon you rather than light who is just like, hey, I'm just chilling back here. If you want to come over here, that's fine. Just don't. It's very important that we don't force our ideology or our energy onto people, and we just allow people to gestate as they are. And I know way more left-hand pathers than, like, vastly more left-hand pathers and Satanists than I do anybody who's like me. And it feels really weird because it almost feels like I can, and this might be a little bit like egocentrical, but for some reason I just get this urge that I can just do more in the dark. And I can if anybody wanted to come towards my section of things, it'd be way better for me to just be in the dark than to just be, just like completely associate and be with people that believe exactly like me. Because, like, what are we gonna say to each other? I mean, like, we think the same things. But if anybody wants to bounce ideas off me, that's while I'm in the dark with everybody else, that'd be cool. I rather, I don't go out to, like, I'm not a missionary. I don't go out to, like, try to, like, convert people or bring people to my idea. But hey, I'm just chilling here in the dark, just setting out some rays. If you want to come over here, you can. If not, that's fine. Not intrusive at all, for sure.
Yeah, it's a pretty tough subject, I think, especially right now, because ever since I won't name any names, but ever since a certain bad thing happened with a certain well-known occultist on the online community.
I love this.
I'm being super vague, right? Ever since that happened, with
I love when people. I love it when you're skating around a black hole, but I love it. It's okay.
I know, because I'm, like, purposely trying to, like, make it known and trying to conceal it at the same time. So it's quite a tactic. But anyway, ever since a certain occult bad boy, fucked up on something recently, I've had several messages from people that are black magicians that were outraged by it, like, just not happy about it, and felt this is giving us a bad rap. It's hard enough being who we are in society as it is today. And it's almost like a whole nother satanic panic is going to come back up. So now we're getting to a point. I think the left-hand path, in particular, I know we've been talking a lot about the left-hand path particularly, but because it's very loaded with a lot of content, so I'm bringing it up right now.
Well, here's the thing, man. Like, I've been getting crap like that about worshiping Kali Ma for, I don't know, as long as I've had a YouTube channel. About people who think that they know who Kali Ma is, and then I'm actually kind of like, I'm actually speaking in favor of who you're talking about, ironically, because I actually don't like them. But I've been getting messages from Christians and even some Hindus who think that Kali Ma is evil and that she's, like, the worst thing ever for years. And
I think she's lovely.
Great. And
personally,
I've been feeling this for years. And a lot of the messages of who we're talking about, I've seen directed towards him. I'm like, dude, just man up. Grab your fucking balls, because, like, I've been getting this for a long time, and now you're getting a little bit of heat. Chill out. You got this. Just, like, I don't like this guy, but at the same time, come on, man. Like, you'll be okay. You don't have to cry. You're gonna be okay. You'll be able to continue your practice, even though I don't like his practice. Like, just chill out. Don't allow everything that's coming at you to be the force through which that you decide to change yourself and not say what you want to say. If you're going to say something, then say it. If you want to say something, say it. Show people who you are. If not, if you actually do want to change, then change. These are your options. These are the options that you have. Decide what you're going to do. Either change as a result of the energy that you're getting, or decide to stand firm with whatever you are. And that, honestly, that's advice for everybody. Like, that's not, I mean, just decide your stance. And if you start to feel pained from the energy that you're getting or the comments or whatever it is, then just withdraw. and figure out yourself, work with the beings that you want to work with, and then come back when you're ready. These are your options. It's not a huge deal. Nobody needs to. Nobody who's in this situation needs to cry about it. Just do you. And come back stronger if you want to come back stronger.
I think this is good advice.
That's it.
I think this is pretty good advice. Thank you for that.
It's like you can, because crying about something or being sad about what's coming your way, sure, you might get some sobs from your fans or whatever. That's fine. But what is it going to do for you? It's not going to do anything. Decide what you're going to do and do it. Decide your position and do it. These are the options. There's no other options available. So just either be you or change. That's it. Oh, I know we're reaching the end of this segment, but we can go to another one in a second here.
Oh no, we're good, man. We're good. I was gonna wrap it up too for now for this one though, but a little bit of editing. Pause. Anyway, yeah, we go to another segment, like a few minutes on another one. That's cool.
All right, sounds good. All right, this is the end of part 3, and we'll be back for part 4.